but since I've been here, I mean, this is 6A football. This is the biggest school in Southeast Texas. West Brook has that tradition. It has a tradition of always being one of the top schools in the state year in and year out.
Oh, it never dies. We never lost to West Brook when I was in school, you know. Before I got there, a couple of years before that, they had chip and, you know, the option and the finger roll on the football field and all that. But when I was there, we never lost to West Brook.
I watched United hold the last 3 teams that they played to nothing after halftime.
Serious, focus, locked in. Yes, sir.
We begin with some severe weather in Texas. Flash flooding that brought more than 20 inches of rain in different parts of the state. And there's more on the way. It's a situation that's making people compare it to Hurricane Harvey.
It actually really surprised us. We were driving on MLK and there was no water, and within 2 hours, it was already at our waist.
All of a sudden, it just started raining, and then it just didn't stop raining, man. It just kept raining, and that water kept coming up. And it was like, you can't drive your truck. And when we left the shop, we tried to go around the underpass, and we made it on the other side to the deepest part. And when we got on the other side, that water just came up over the hood, and man, it killed the truck. And my buddy looked at me, he said, man, he said, it's it. He said, it's over, the truck died.
And if you look over here, here's one of them here in the ditch. In the distance, another. And a little bit farther over to our right, we have a pickup truck. So this is a serious situation that has unfolded overnight here in Southeast Texas.
This was something that I did not see coming. The Tuesday before the flood, I called a friend of mine, Rodney Cavness, who's a superintendent at in Texas City. Just talked to him. I said, what's going on, Rodney? He said, man, look, I'm deciding whether to have school or not tomorrow. I'm like, what? So Arthur, have you been watching the news, which I hadn't? And when I looked it up, and that's the first time I ever heard of Imelda. And it came in and wreaked a lot of havoc and destruction on all our kids in Southeast Texas.
Tuesday after practice, I remember I got on the computer with our guy. I was just sitting here checking the weather for the rest of the week, and when I got online, I saw that it changed from just a rain cloud to basically a tropical storm. So I was telling the coaches, I said, guys, this is a tropical storm now. And so Wednesday, we ended up practicing in the gym, and then I sent the kids home early. And then, of course, Thursday, I kind of knew what was going to happen. I kind of saw that it was coming our way.
I had thought about certain scenarios that seem to bring people together, like, you know, tragedies. It seems as if, you know, there's a natural disaster, people come together.
Yeah.
Some sort of bad atrocity happens, people come together. Could it be that sports sort of like mimics that in a sense? Like, okay, there's opposing force. We have to overcome them. And so people have to unite in order for that greater good of, you know, having to defeat that opponent or, you know, trump that, whatever it is, what have you. I don't know if it's sort of mimicking that sort of.
Yeah, I mean, and plus it, along with the opposing forces going against each other, it's an easy way to talk about opposition and defeating like odds against you. And not saying sports aren't real life, but sports takes us out of real life.
You know, all this stuff on my desk, that's one thing. But once I get to the football field, man, it's very relaxing for me out there on the football field. And the kids, I feel the same thing with them. They look forward. They get here really super early, and they're just ready to go from there. So I think it does give them an outlet and something to look forward to.
It's an outlet for these guys. For 2.5, 3 hours a day, they get here and they get their mind off what's going on at home. They can lock in on trying to win the game. A lot of these guys are going to get scholarships, so they're planning for their future. A lot of them love the crowds on Friday night. Their parents get a break to come see their kid play on Friday night. So getting them back here, getting them locked in, back into their routine, their norm. They're teenagers. That's what they needed, their normalcy. So they jump right back in with both feet.
Phil Myers is a dual threat quarterback. He can throw it and he can run it. He's a very disciplined kid, takes coaching very well, and he's a winner. He wants to win, and as a result of going along with him, we're 4-0 with him.
Now, here you go. Yeah, no, that's all we're doing. Great press. You gotta get on your horse, get on the outside. We couldn't get the outside because of you. On the ball.
shit been working with goddamn Cole. Cole didn't make it. All right. Let's go. Hurry up. That's the reason why I didn't pop. Yes. Y'all can do y'all defense and do whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's go. Let's go. Easy. They don't get over the goddamn center. Move over. I know I heard him say D. Hey, you want G front? Yeah, I want GL22. GL22. Go, Nick. Hey, that's my crease that we got to hit. That's the crease we got to hit. Not bad, once you see him, go blow into him, okay? Not a bad read. Just a half step too quick, okay? Let's go, here we go. Physical specimen, very physical kid, 2-year letterman. Once he's learning to where to be exactly, he's a good dangerous man, great tackler, very strong kid who wants to do it. So he's working his craft to get better.
Man, I got the best coaching staff in the state of Texas. Them youngsters be getting it, man. Yeah, they got them young legs. You know what I'm talking about?
I hear you, man.
Put it on them too.
What about this Coach Bevel, man? He looked pretty good back there throwing the ball.
Man, look here. He can still throw that thing. He's our quarterback. He gives us a great look, man, during the week. He played quarterback in college. I used to play that position, back in the day, but I let him do that. I couldn't hit you right now with football. But at any rate, he does a good job. Man, all my coaches are excellent coaches. I'll trade him for anybody in the state of Texas.
Well, we've been talking about this with the kids a lot, and it's a very important game because it's our next district game. When you get into the district season, every game is very important, and we were fortunate enough to come out with a win last week. Doing what we need to do to take care of business. So this week, we're trying to go 2-0 in districts big.
How are you motivating the kids to keep playing, to keep striving?
Well, I didn't have to motivate at all. They were excited to come back. They were calling me and finding out, we were going to get back to practice. And we get them out here, and they didn't miss a beat. They were excited about being back to practice. And then them knowing it's district and them having the goals of the playoff runs and things that we want to do, they were excited to come back.
All right, what's the music for?
Well, it was because we're going to hear, you hear the band the whole entire game. This is going to be a loud game. It's going to be a loud atmosphere. I want our kids and our coaches to get used to hearing, not being able to hear themselves think. You don't have to, it's going to be hard to make communications, things like that, so they've got to get used to it. And if you're going to do music, you might as well do the music you're going to hear. And it's going to be hype. There's no doubt about it. This is a great thing for the community. I've told people I think it's going to be anywhere from 12 to 14,000 people there. This is going to go back to the old school days of Babes at Harris Stadium where people where they used to meet up, and that thing would be packed, people stay on the sidelines, and it's finally getting back to that. And it's exciting to see this for the city. They need that. It gives them, high school football brings everybody together. This is going to be great.
I'm from the Charlton Pilot neighborhood, so I grew up as a little boy walking in the Tillman's barbecue and seeing the Charlton Pilot Bulldogs sitting there, and everybody's like, whoa. And then the people, old men sitting around telling you the history of Charlton Pilot, talking to us about Coach Smith and Bubba Smith and all the different people who came in. Did you know that Coach Smith was the first coach to allow their kids to wear white shoes in a football game? You didn't know that, huh? History. Charlton Pilot Bulldogs. But anyway, I always remember that rivalry, whether it was at barber shops and different businesses up and down Irving Street. They would continuously talk about the Soul Bowl. And going through those times of segregation to where the African American people in Southeast Texas didn't have much to do, you looked at that rivalry as a big thing in Southeast Texas, and it resonated even when both schools were defunct. With Hebert being merged in and becoming West Brook, and Charlton Pilot becoming BCP, then later on merging with French and becoming Central, then we had two schools again.
How do you feel about, Central closing down and merging with crosstown rival Ozen?
It's a heartbreaker, as far as tradition goes, as a true Central person myself and a bunch of others. It is what it is. You have to do the best thing for the kids, but all in all, we were sour about the merge.
And what you think about this whole rivalry with West Brook, man?
It never dies. We never lost to West Brook when I was in school. Before I got there, a couple of years before that, they had chip and the option and the finger roll on the football field and all that. But when I was there, we never lost to West Brook.
Tell them what position you played.
A little bit of everything, man. We had a bunch of cats that played multiple positions. We had Devin Stevens, Brian Thomas, tight eyes. We had Jarvis Williams, we had Chopper, the Barrier brothers. We had Mike Hawkins, rest in peace to my boy Brandon Pratt. We had Brandon Stewart, just to name a few of the homies. But we had a nice team, man.
And here you got these two schools that this big thing made everybody forget about everything. I hear stories about people who went to Beaumont High or to Forest Park, which were the white schools in Beaumont, who would go to sneak in to see the Soul Bowl. They were going to see the Soul Bowl being played. Even with in my generation, when we got to where it was West Brook versus Central, I would see people from Needleland High School, Vider High School, Lumberton High School travel to come watch West Brook versus Central, because that was the game. Everybody knew about it. Just the same as it is with PNG and Needleland. If Central ain't playing nobody that weekend, or not somebody major, or Beaumont United, or West Brook's not playing nobody major, the people who like to go enjoy football will go to go see the best rivalry in the area. And a lot of us go to the PNG versus Needleland game if our team isn't paying nobody who's really, really that good. So football plays a big part in this community. It's Texas. Football's everything.
So, Captain, make sure that everything's cleaned up in the room before somebody leaves. Make sure everything's cleaned up. All right, guys, let's give Kevin your full attention. Give him a round of applause. Bring this up. What's up?
I'm asking first though. Who wrote 1 Timothy? Who was not? Paul. Where was Timothy the leader of the church? Yes, Ephesus. Do you know that we stopped counting? That we in the observable universe have stopped counting how many stars there are because they're almost innumerable to us. Billions and billions of stars. We've stopped counting. It's only when something really, really specific happens that we start paying attention to new stars. They discovered this year, we think we've figured everything out. They discovered this year a brand new type of star. Brand new type of star in August of this year. It's a star that loses 10% of its brightness and then gains 10% of its brightness back within a period of 3 to 5 minutes. Now picture it, if the sun got 10% brighter within 3 to 5 minutes, the sun that we are near, everything in our universe would be completely burned up. Everything in our solar system would be gone. That now we have discovered this for the first time in our mind, but Isaiah says that he is the Lord of all the hosts. That means he's the Lord of all the stars, all the celestial bodies, everything that happens in the entire universe, and he has not lost a single one. He doesn't know, there's nothing that happens in that universe that he doesn't know about or that he is not providentially sustaining and in control of. Not only does he have plans formed of old for the entire creation, but he has plans formed of old since the beginning of time for me and for you. And that's to know him. And that's to be a part of what he has us doing in the world. And so what Timothy is hearing from Paul is not just that this is important things to know, it's this is the truth. This is a world-altering reality. You have been invited by the Almighty God who created the universe into relationship with him. And now that is what you are going to go and invite others to because you are now a leader. Who in this team is a leader? If you're a leader, raise your hand. If your hand's not raised, raise your hand. Because of the shirt you're wearing right now, you're a leader. People are going to look at you as the leadership of this community to point people to Christ and never draw them farther away. And so what are we going to pray for tonight? Pray for the safety. Glory to God. What else? Safety. What else? Execution. What else? Remember all assignments, no injuries. What else? Keep your mind right. What else? Safe travels. So let's go. Hand on somebody.
I want to thank you for letting us be here today, God. Thank you for letting us all come in here and listen to the devotion and hopefully we all learn something, God. I want to thank you for letting us all just be able to play this sport that we love and just I hope you let us have safe travel and get there safely, God, and help us get this win. I know that you see that we're not the ones hyping this game up, they are. This is another game to us, easy little dub, you know. But I just want to thank you once again. I hope you let us stay safe and not get injured. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
All right, so I see that you guys, y'all seem to have a mutual respect for each other. And you want to talk about that, how even though two teams might be in a rival with each other today, it's still a mutual respect.
Well, it's a history that a lot of the coaches have together. But I know, speak from Coach Paul and myself and a lot of the coaches on the staff, it's mutual respect for the things they've accomplished, the way they work, the way that they get their team together, the way that they lead their young men. Definitely respect and admiration.
And it goes back to each coach or each coach have either coached with one another or friends outside of the sport. It's just being a competitor. The competitive nature, it tends to seem like it's bad, but it's not. We go out and have dinner and lunch after this, and it's like nothing ever happened.
It's a competition. We know we're working. We know we have similar goals, but at the end of the day, we're going to sit down and admire each other's work and talk about how we can get better, not only as coaches, but as men.
All right, and one last thing. For any fans that might be feeling like, holding on to that old school way of rivalry, man, what would you tell them about letting it go and embracing the new United?
Well, I wouldn't tell them to let it go. I would tell them to embrace the United, but the old rivalry is what keeps it going. What makes this new rivalry fresh. I mean, do it in a respectful way, no arguing, no fighting, no cussing, and don't disrespect the kids. But enjoy what's becoming between Beaumont's two 6A high schools. It's a good thing.
And at the end of the day, it's about the kids, and we're all from the same city. Everybody should be together in one, because when we go to the playoffs, everybody should be pulling for one another.
Absolutely.
How you feel about the first half?
Man, I feel good. I'm West Brook growing alumni. We're very explosive on the offense, so it feels really good. They taking care of business. They scoring that wheel over here. So defense fighting up. We really wanted to shut out today, but the defense got to play a little better. But they playing real good. They only gave up 16 points, so West Brook playing really good.
But did you think they would be up like this, 32-16?
Yeah, man. If you really think about it, West Brook got a lot of weapons on offense. They got Thad, they got Joe Pierre, so they got a lot of weapons. Their receiver, the two running backs good. So everybody really explosive, fast paced, can get in the end zone at any time.
Could this team beat your team when you played?
This team? No, they couldn't. Nah, we was explosive. They got some good receivers, but we had a little bit better talent at receiver. At quarterback, we had a Troy and a Bryce combined, and Bruce Reyes. So.
How you feel about the game at halftime right now? Did you think Boone would be up like this?
Oh, of course, man. It's West Brook all day. 32-16, this is a no-brainer right here. BU, they just not getting started, so they got to jail some more, man. West Brook, we've been doing this, so nothing to it, man.
Bowl. When they brought Ozen into the fold and it was 3 schools, I was kind of like, it's not the same. It became this Beaumont Bowl series. You know, so you kind of got to go to 3 different football games, kind of figure out who was what. And then I think Central got the worst end of that because most of the kids that were going to Ozen probably would have went to Central. So, you know, West Brook dominated at that time again. So here we go. Now we finally got 2 schools, and 2 schools that are doing very well. These are 2 schools that can all beat the 3 teams the Dallas Cowboys played the first 3 games of the season. You know, so I really think this is going to be a great game coming up Friday. The cameraman got shook. How the hell you shake the cameraman?
This guy, bro.
What? What?
I forgot this dude was a
What? We play teams. We don't play no rebuilding franchises. Okay, let's go ahead. All right. Let's see how that get edited.